everybody. Welcome to the Multifamily Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Peterson, and really want to work on, this is the end of the year. This podcast is getting published and put out right towards the end of the year. Christmas is right around the corner, I believe. And so lots of exciting things happening. But also something else is probably happening right now. And I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it with you. And I want to share Christmas and holidays for a lot of people are good or sometimes bad. And I'm going to choose to make and look at the good things in life, even though we're like in the middle of like inflation and all these weird kind of crazy things that are going on. I want to show to you that there's hope and there's joy and there's love and there's compassion. And, it's a new year. A new baby is going to be born. Jesus was born on Christmas. That's why we celebrate Christmas. And really just want to just share my heart to you today. And as I think about, 2023 coming up, there's some things that I think that we really want to address. We want to talk about the future a little bit. But before we do that, though, I just want to take a quick minute and just tell you, we are getting ready to we are actually launching our Kahuna Boardroom. It is open, it's live, seats are getting taken. I only have 60 seats. I don't know exactly how many are left right now, but I'm just telling you, if you are thinking about like leveling up in the multifamily game, you need to come to this event. You really need to. Why? I promise you, I will teach you how to raise cheap private money. He who has the lowest cost of capital wins, point blank. And so I just really think that you need to hear that message. I'll go into it. I'm actually going to create another podcast that I'm going to go over. I just did a speech at the Raising Private Money Summit, and I'm actually going to give it here on my podcast because I thought it was really impactful of why and what I think we do differently and why I think it's important. And so I just really want to create some content on why raising cheap capital matters, right? And why you should be paying attention. And because I see so many times, so many people be slaves to the money. And you don't have to. I mean, you may have to in the beginning a little bit, but like if you do this thing right, you can create a bunch of investors that are going to give you money time and time again and are happy to work with you and happy to get your returns that you're going to give them. But most people are just probably fishing in the wrong ponds, and they're really looking at the wrong type of capital. And so they'll always be a slave to the capital. And I think you should have capital work for you and with you, not on the side of the coin. So anyways, get there, you go to kahunaboardroom.com, kahunaboardroom.com. If that's you, I'm telling you, don't waste a second. You need to get in. This thing sells out fairly quick, so I'm just going to highly recommend it. It's February 16th through the 18th, and in here in Phoenix, Arizona, in Scottsdale. You will not want to miss out. So thanks, guys. If that's for you, check out that website, and let's see you on the other side, because I really think that the way I teach it differently, and I teach it in a way you can understand it. And more importantly, you will come out knowing that you're going to be able to do deals and make some money in the commercial space. Okay, so really thought about, what I wanted to talk about today. And in the future, when you're looking at like, hey, what's going on and what do you want to be, right? Like, how do you want to change? Like, this is the time of year where you start planning. Hopefully you guys have already put a lot of planning into place. But if you're just now doing it, like, let's kind of do it together a little bit. And I'll take you through a little of an exercise and then I'm going to give you guys kind of what I think I'm going to do, right? So I want to start out with this question. Well, first of all, I want to start off with a couple of statements. First statement is there is greatness within you. I'm telling you, so many times I see people not living up to their full potential, wanting to do something, but just not quite getting there how many times we are our biggest critics. We put ourselves down and we forget, kind of look back and see the journey. Because I think if most of us would really take an honest look at ourselves, you would say, wow, I'm a lot farther than I thought. I didn't realize I did all that. I didn't realize how many mountains I climbed already just to get where I'm at. But I'm telling you, there is greatness within you. There is something out there that's you have uniquely that is dying to get out. And I'm telling you, you got to focus on that. And that, so there's greatness within you, and you are destined to do good things and great things. I believe this wholeheartedly. When I look at the right people, the people that do this, man, they go off. Even me, like, I'll give it myself example. Before I thought I could do it, like just even creating this podcast 4 years ago, I started it. I was like, well, I'm just going to do it, but I didn't realize how much impact it had. And so until I go out speaking and I hear people come to me and say how much that they thrived and learned from it. And I realized how many people I impacted. So you may be impacting people right now and you don't know it. And so there is greatness within you. You can be great, and it doesn't have to be as, big things. It can just be in the small things that you do, right? Number 2 is that I believe most of us need to say this is, you are enough. I'm enough, right? I'm enough right now. Like, I want to move somewhere, but right now I'm enough. So many times we cut ourselves short. People cut themselves short all the damn time. And I don't understand why. Why do you want to go through life wishing you could have, done have, should have, I would have? Listen, you got to get out of that mindset. This is mindset stuff. Most of this, what I'm going to talk about today, is 99% of it is mindset and choosing to build a fortress around this thing, right? Because you are enough. You have great skills and great concepts and great ideas, and you are enough to get it done. And there's so many times when you go out into the regular world that people are going to let you down. They're going to let you down. And sometimes we may let ourselves down. It's human, and it's okay. The great thing about, getting knocked down is not staying down, right? That's the one unique gift that most of us have, right? Now, some people get knocked out. And my goal is to make sure that that's not you, because you are enough. And when you get knocked down, that is, we call it learning, by the way. You either win or you learn. Never lose. You only lose if you quit. And if you're listening to this podcast, you take some time to invest in some of the episodes. I know that's not you, but I know that sometimes we have to be reminded that we are enough. And so this is just my confirmation to you. And I just need you to say it. Say it. I am enough. I'm enough. I am enough. You are enough. I'm telling you, we need to say it sometimes to ourselves. And I'm going to say it particularly women, right? Women, you guys have a hard time with this. Because listen, there's so many roles that women do that men could never. I know this. I have a wonderful wife, and sometimes I forget how much she really does for our household, and she still works with me. Who am I? I thought my job was hard. No, it's not. So for all the women out there right now, I just want to give you a special heart. I love you, because I know that it's a little bit harder, believe it or not, but women are equipped uniquely for the skill set, I'm telling you. But a lot of times you got to say to yourselves too that you guys are enough. You are enough. What you're doing right now is good enough, right? And so I just want to shower you with the praise right now, shower you with that love and that understanding that where we're at today is exactly where we're supposed to be, right? God has a plan for you. And more importantly is that in your start, as you try to go through your journey, and again, I say this on lots of my podcasts, but real estate is a journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey. And if you will fall in love with the journey, the goods, the bads, the highs and the lows, it will be way more fulfilling. And you will not get as high or as low. It'll just be like, it's good. It's good. Yeah, there's times that it's not so fun. And there's times that it's really great, but it's good. It's good enough, right? So really just want to make sure I hit that home for just a minute, because I think a lot of us need to hear it more and more, especially at times like this. So just know that that's you. The last thing I want to say is that love on your family and smell the roses, right? Most of us, most of the time, like I'm conditioned, I'm a workaholic. I know it. I could probably do real estate all the time, but I also really, really, really want to be a good dad and a good father and a good husband to my wife. And so to do all those things, I have to cut out time, right? And I've got to make time to smell the roses, to do the things important. And sometimes that means saying no to things, saying no to travel events. And I'll give you a good example. The other day, I had a Raising Private Money Summit with Tim Mai, and that started on a Wednesday. And I was scheduled to go on Wednesday, except until I found out that I had a scheduled conflict with my son was wrestling on Wednesday, had a wrestling duel. And one of the commitments that I made to myself and to my family was that I was not going to miss. Didn't want to miss. He's a junior. He's still got one more year left in high school. But I don't want to miss those duels. I only get, so I have like this year, next year, and then he's done probably with sports. And I really enjoyed watching. And more importantly, that's his capital, right? My son Connor does not care, by the way, about money, about my money. His only thing that he trades in, his currency, is the capital that he trades in is time. Is dad there? Is dad paying attention? And is he going to be there? And so once you realize that, I was at an event where someone said, I'm doing it for my family, that my family's my why. And I'm willing to grind and grind and grind and grind. And it was really weird when I heard it. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, man, I wish I could just shake her and say, no, don't do it that way. Do not build, because that's what society tells us to do, is to grind. It's all worth it. One day you'll get there and it'll be worth it all, but it won't. It won't be worth it when you miss. You do not get to make it over or make it up. And so the currency of time for your kids, as they get older, it gets even more valuable. Think about this. This is a good thought. Me and my wife were talking the other day. It's like, listen, our daughter's now she's in college. And she's out of the house, right? She's going to come back, but I got maybe four more years where she's coming back here and there. And then, so this was, I can't remember the statistics, but 80% of your time that you'll ever spend with your kids is from 1 year old, from when they're born to 18. 80% of the real time you spend with your kids. From 18 till you die is the other 20. Whoa. For the next, 40 years, 50 years, 20% over the 40 or 50 years is the interactions and the time you're going to have with your family, with your kids. And dude, that sucks. I'm like trying to figure out, how do I find more ways to connect that I get to spend time with them? Because I truly love my kids and I want to spend more time with them. Now I understand the reality, and that's the truth. They're going to go live their own lives. I've built them up to do this. But man, it really puts when you talk about time and where you should spend it, man, it's through 1 through 18. Do it. Because I'm telling you, my house is already quieter. It's already quieter. And once my son leaves, it's going to get really quiet. And we're going to miss. I already know I'm going to hate it. I'll get used to it. I'll fill it with other things, activities, travel, things like that for sure. But it still doesn't mean that I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss my kids. So you don't get that time back. And so spend it wisely. Make sure that you smell the roses, do the little things with your spouse, your wife, all the things that I think truly matter. Because even though we talk about money and making money here in this podcast, it's not about the money. It's about the journey, right? The journey is what will make you grow and make you, and it'll pay you well within what you're worth and more so, right? But most people are not willing to do the journey. Honestly, some of you guys are listening right now, and you've not even made the first step, and you need to, right? So that leads me into kind of some of the things I want to talk about. Is what are you going to do different this year, like 2023? What are you going to do different than you've done all the previous other years, or things that you know that you should change, right? There's times when I look at some of the things that I've done is like, man, I've checked out sometimes, and my time management sucks, right? And so I've learned that for me to get better at my craft, I have to evolve, and I have to get a little bit better, and I get a little bit more efficient. And one of the things that I'm going to do different this year is take back more of my time, right? Because to me, I want more of my time. That's what I'm going to do different. I'm going to make sure I take even and get more greedier with my time, and do less of things that I know I don't need to. Like I'm on lots of email chains, right, with my property managers. Well, I've got an asset manager. Why am I getting CC'd on every stupid email? I don't know, but then I end up looking at them and reading them. And how much of a time suck is that? A lot. And if I'm truly trying to be the CEO, do I need to be in all those communications? Nope. The answer is no. And so to leave it, I have to remove it. I have to say, take me off of these emails. I've got someone that I put a lot of faith and pay a lot of money to do it. And then she reports to me. We have our detailed weekly meetings, right? So I don't need to be in the gist. But so many times we feel like we have to. And I'm just telling you, that's not it. Most times it's not it. And so what are you going to do different this year, 2023, as we're coming upon it? That's different from 2022. And I would challenge you to take a little minute for that. It took me a minute to kind of figure out what, first of all, I came at it from a strategic, like, oh, I need to do this. I need to change this. I need to add that. Where, like I thought about time management. I really did think about time management for a long time, as far as like putting more things in my calendar. But then what I realized, it was more about giving myself more time. And so to do that, well, that was a little bit of a shift. And so I said, am I trying to become the CEO of my company, or am I the CEO of my company? Am I doing things that are not the best use of my time? And the answer was like, I spent so much time reading dumbass emails that I'm like, why am I doing this? So that's what I'm going to do different. And I'm already starting that process of, do I need to be on this email? And then if I'm not, I say, hey, take me off this chain. Don't send, you don't need to include me on these kind of emails. And that way, then I'm only going to get alerted when it needs my attention. And then my job is just to manage my team. And as a CEO, this is letting go of the vine, by the way. They call that traction, letting go of the vine. Traction, by the way, if you've not read Traction by Gino Wickman, you should get it and buy it and read it. Great book. But his first opening spot is letting go of the vine and letting your people thrive, giving them the opportunity to do what they're supposed to do. They want to, by the way, right? So make sure you let go of the vine. For me, what am I going to do different? I'm going to get more greedier with my time. I'm going to take my time back so I can go do more things, more travel. All right, now that we've talked about, what are you going to do different? One of the things I think we need to also be asking ourselves is, what do you need to become, right? So a lot of times when I'll give you an example of this. About beginning of last year, I started to tell myself, like, I want to become the CEO of my company. Like, I need to be a CEO. I need to start thinking like a CEO and acting like a CEO. So I started feeding my mind different books on becoming a CEO, right? So one of my favorite books right now is by Trey Taylor called A CEO Only Does Three Things, which is people, culture, and numbers. And that book's a great book, by the way, another highly recommended book. But in order to fulfill that destiny of becoming the CEO, I needed to become a CEO in my mind. Like I needed to start thinking different and asking myself higher level questions and start running my company as if I was the CEO instead of the owner, where I'm putting on multiple hats. I needed to start giving away my hats and trusting in people. And that's a big difference, right? Some of the best, most successful people that I'm seeing in operations are vertically integrated, and they've created systems and processes with people and organizations. So as you go on your multifamily journey, there's lots of ways to get there. But one of the ways that I've seen a lot of people do it is, by adding partners. And partners are good, but partners kind of come and go sometimes. And I think to have a very sustainable business and long-term vision, you will want to create a company with employees. At least that's the way I see it. And so my goal is to create a company with employees where I have employees that are faithful. And my job is to create the best work environment, to create the best culture, and really love on my people. And then my people go out there and do the work that represent our values to our customers and our clients, and they do the things necessary. And as we started to do that, we started to vertically integrating some of the things that we needed to take more control of. And that's been a really remarkable journey. But I needed to become, in my mind first, the CEO. And so my question to you now is, what do you need to become? Who do you need to grow up or to be, or envision yourself? And then what does that look like? And where do you start? And how do you start crafting that in your mind? In other words, before you have it, you start to have to manifest it in your brain. And that's sometimes hard work, by the way. A lot of people, what happens is they fail to do it repeatedly. So it's great when you first start, you're like, I'm going to do, and this is who I'm going to become, but you run out of gas sometimes. And so you've got to really get some training. And this is why I love entrepreneurship, is because these are the things I think good entrepreneurs, the traits they have and why they're super successful is they do it anyways. They do it even when they don't feel like it, right? And in other words, you got to tell yourself, even when you don't believe it at times, that this is who you are. This is what your company becomes. You lead. I was just on a webinar where we were talking about the downturn of the economy, and where most people are running and fearful and so nervous and scared. We're like, who do you need to hire? Like, think of all the big corporation companies that are letting people go. There's a talent pool out there. Are you one hire away from super success? If you are not raising capital consistently, but maybe you need to hire a capital raiser. Maybe there's one capital raiser that you can hire to your company that's going to help raise and do the job of bringing in investors to your deal, right? And being that one person, that's strategy, right? That is thinking on a whole different scale. Where everybody else is running away, you're leading the charge because you've been there before. And listen, if I could do it again too, in 2008, 9 is when I got into real estate. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I just gotten into real estate. That was my first hitting into the recession. I didn't get into the recession now. So now we're getting ready we see it coming. We don't know how deep or how long it's going to be, but it's coming. And the question is, how prepared are you? And so those little things, right? Who do you need to become? And then more importantly, I think this, I believe, is going to be my slogan in 2023. Relationship capital. That, my friends, is going to change the game for most people who have it. And if you don't, you need to start working on it now. Relationship capital. And I'm talking about joint ventures and people that can help promote you and surrounding yourself. Who do you need to surround yourself with in 2023? And how are you going to increase your relationship capital? I believe some of the biggest opportunities are not going to be from things that I find, but from friends and people that I know that they bring to me. That I know. I know there'll be more opportunities with people that I know, like, and trust that are already successful in themselves. And we can find a way to collaborate, work together where 1 + 1 = 10, right? And those are going to be the biggest deals that I'll probably be doing in 2023. I know it. I know it without a doubt. And the one thing about relationship capital is if you're all collaborating and, working and seeing things going on into the future with what is currently happening, it gives you a lot more insight into the future on how to become more successful, on the obstacles that you need to avoid, and the things that are working in this new economy. And so, again, surrounding yourself with relationship capital is critical, probably now more than ever, especially in times of uncertainty or change. And so having a network that you can rely on and lean on to give you good, valuable information, not free information, right? But good, valuable information. Now, if they're from your friends and the people that are in business and you get it for free, great. But sometimes you may have to pay for this information too. Okay. But and we pay for this a lot of times through masterminds. So why do you think people join my mastermind? It's because they want to be part of a group that's successful, that has more to offer than just here's the people that are doing deals. It's about the insight. It's the relationship capital that you can find deal partners and people to lean on and figure out, oh, this is a great way to do marketing, or this is a great way to create this lead funnel of getting investors into your deal. Here's the right way to create a meetup. All those things matter more today than ever, especially when the tide is going out. Okay. So, and then, my last point is this: as we start to navigate, trying to figure out what business you're in, I think is more important than ever. I see so many people that go, today I'm an info marketer. Today I'm a this. Today I'm a real estate investor, or now I'm a asset manager. So trying to figure out what business you're in for some of us. And I say this with a lot of humility because I suffer from this. Like, this is my reality. And we've had to, as a company, say we are a wealth management company. That's what we are. And there's some things we do really, really good in that business, but there's some things that we're not doing so well on. And like, we've decided in 2023, as we're moving, like, we're not going to stink anymore in some of these areas. And so we're ramping up our investor relations. We are hiring the key people to make sure that we're communicating even more to our investors and having more interactions with them and phone calls, and not just the emails. Like, we're going to get way more involved in getting to know our people more than ever, because we want to create raving fans. Raving fans is what we're after. And until we get there, we're just going to keep modifying and improving. But we've made it a point of effort this in 2023 is we're not going to be average. We're going to be great. Right. And deciding to be great, whatever you're doing, and knowing exactly what you're going to be great at, man, that makes all the difference in the world. So I'm going to challenge you guys to think about, what business are you really in? Right? Are you in the multifamily space? Are you more in the capital raising space? What are you great at? And then just go get really good at it. Once you master that, then you can move on to the next piece. Right? Jack of all trades, master of none. But I also say a jack of all trades is better than a master of none, right? Listen, there's a lot of people don't say the other part of that saying, jack of all trades, master of none is better than. Anyways, I'll tell you this. What I've learned in the 17 years that I've been doing real estate is that it's always going to change. The cheese moves here and there and everywhere. But the one consistent is my passion and will to keep learning and to keep earning. Right? I surround myself with great people. I keep a positive outlook on my mental stability, because we all will go through, like, we've all lost money before. I'm sure you have lost money before. It doesn't feel good, but you learn from those things. And then you say, here's what I know. Here's what I've learned. The difference when you really start to grow is you start to learn and use other people's ideas so you don't make those mistakes, right? That is the power of surrounding yourself with community. And I'm telling you, you have to do it now more than ever. Guys, feed your mind, feed it daily. Get that juice, get the gift of telling yourself daily, reward yourself daily, and tell yourself that you are enough, that you have greatness within you. So many times we are not doing this, and we got to do it on the daily. I believe it wholeheartedly. If you listen to this podcast, you know that I believe in this one concept more than ever. And I want to let you know that I believe in you, right? So whatever you've got to do this year to get yourself right, to be ready for 2023, I'm going to tell you, go make it happen. Do the work. Get proud. Stay consistent. And don't ever, ever give up. Never quit. Quitters never win, right? It's about getting to get back up and keep going forward, and you will find success. Success will come and find you. And that, my friend, is a great gift. It's nice to look over your shoulder and see your friend's success right there. He's always been there with you. Sometimes he shows himself. Sometimes you got to look pretty far back because you forgot him, right? But I'm telling you, success always catches up. It will always catch up, and you will look back on your road, your journey, and you will be proud. You will not have regrets. You will have mistakes along the way, but if those mistakes weren't there, you wouldn't have done it right. You wouldn't have learned those lessons that you needed to learn, right? Success is about failing forward. Keep failing, my friend, and you will be rewarded. So guys, remember, the power of your mind is everything. If you believe it, you can achieve it. And your paradise is absolutely possible.